Hello, my love, and welcome to the Energy Expansion Podcast. I am your host, Dani Kenney. And as always, I am so incredibly excited to be here with you. And I'm also feeling really inspired by the conversation that we are going to be having together today. And it all starts with a simple question. It's a question that I ask myself, honestly, quite often. It's a question that I'm going to ask you to sit with. And it's a question that I asked all of the women inside of Energy Expansion Academy earlier this morning. We have a private, very high vibe, very fun, very valuable, action-packed Facebook community. It's exclusively for the women inside of Energy Expansion Academy. And I go live and we do a Q&A every single week without fail. And it's a question that I asked this morning, and it sparked such a powerful, deep, rich conversation that I knew in an instant, oh, this is what we're going to be talking about on the podcast this week. But before we dive into that, let's do a little bit of a catch up. Hi, I miss you. I say that because last week was a very rare occurrence in the energy expansion world. And it was a week where we did not drop a new episode. And it's not because I didn't want to. It's not because I don't love you and I wasn't thinking about you, because I do love you and I absolutely was thinking about you the whole time. It was just a really jam-packed week. And on top of it being more jam-packed than usual, I was also parenting solo. My husband was away for a golf trip for a couple of days, more than a couple of days, like almost 5 days. And I feel like literal superwoman for how I held down the fort at home and in my business and all of the beautiful things that unfolded. And admittedly, I really love pouring a lot of myself into our weekly podcast episodes. And last week, I just had to give myself a permission slip of like, okay, it's going to actually create more stress and overwhelm than anything. And guess what? When I'm here with you, I really want to be here with you from a place of joy and expansion. And oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell my besties this thing, because that's the energy that I bring. I hope it's the energy you can feel, because that's true. I don't want to be recording from a place of stress and overwhelm and I've got to get it done and da 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 da. Here's a little, like a mini masterclass on the energy from which we do things matters. So be really mindful about how you're moving and what's underneath the energy of the action you're taking. And so I gave myself a little permission slip. And you know what? That gave all of our listeners, our loyal listeners, and also our brand new ones to get caught up on the other 83 episodes that are already available. Because today I am 99.9% sure this is episode 84, which is so amazing. And so that's where I was last week. I also don't batch record these. I feel like, everyone talks about batch recording your podcast episodes and batch recording your content. And I, for the million years, really the 13 years that I've been in business for myself, I've really wanted to get on board with that. And I just don't think that my energy type is the one aligned with that, because the truth of the matter is it needs to be the thing that is inspiring me in this moment. And I guess, there could be a lot of things. There often are a lot of things that are inspiring me in any given moment. So I'm going to have to sit with what it would look like to batch record content. But right now we're doing it a week at a time. And I really love that in a sense, because I think you tuning in can feel the aliveness and the freshness of this, right? So that was last week. And then yesterday was Mother's Day. And it was, oh my goodness, it was so fun. It was so sweet. If you don't know, I'm a mom of 3. I have a 12 and a half. Oh my gosh, this is wild, you guys. My not 12 and a half year old is going to be 13 in a month. So she's basically a 13-year-old. I have a 10 and a half year old and a 4-year-old. And I just felt so loved. It was like an ordinary day, but it was also so special and extraordinary. I went to church because church is my favorite way to start my Sunday. Give me a good worship band and a community of people praising the Lord, and nothing fills my cup up quite like that. And we didn't have anything like overly pre-planned. We actually had nothing pre-planned. So I got home from church and was like, you know what? I kind of want to go get some sunshine. We live in the glorious San Diego and we don't ever go to the beach. I hate saying that out loud. Like, how do you live in San Diego, but you don't go to the beach? I don't know. That's true for us. And you know what? It's probably true for 90% of our friends, unless they literally live walking distance to the beach. Most people probably don't go. And you might have something like that in your own hometown. Like the cool thing, the thing that draws people in. If there are tourists who come to your town, it's like the thing that they go do. And like you forget that it even exists. You know how we do that? How we have this tendency, it's totally unintentional and unconscious, but we can so easily take the cool stuff around us for granted. And I've decided I don't want to do that anymore. Specifically, which is like hard to say because in San Diego, I feel even bad like saying this out loud on the podcast because San Diego is so amazing. It is one of the most magical places in the whole wide world, in my opinion. There's a lot of other magical places in the world that I want to go visit, but there's no shortage of things to do and places to go and stuff to see and experiences to have. It's really, truly extraordinary. So I probably take a million things for granted living in San Diego, but one of the big things is the beach. And so there's a part of San Diego, if you've been with me for any length of time on the podcast, you've maybe heard me talk about it, but one of my favorite places, not just here where we live driving distance, but out of a lot of places I've ever visited, my heart belongs to Coronado. It's a sweet little island. It's actually a peninsula towards downtown San Diego, and it's so magical. I feel like I'm in a time machine. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you've got to go visit. Come to San Diego, call me when you get here. I'll pick you up and we'll go to Coronado, okay? And like there's so many beaches in San Diego, but if you're going to take me to a beach, just take me to Coronado. If you want to take me anywhere that's going to make me happy, just take me to Coronado. And my kids know this about me. And so we went to the beach and we played at the beach for a little while, a couple of hours. We had a picnic. And then when we came home, I went and got a foot massage. Actually, I normally just get a foot massage. You guys, the greatest life hack is it's called the reflexology. Reflexology, you're welcome. But here's the thing, you could go get a foot massage and it's a whole body massage is how it ends up. Not a full deep tissue, but they touch on all the different important places. And so that's my favorite life hack. But yesterday I actually did upgrade and I did a combo. I got body and foot. We went a little longer. We did 70 minutes yesterday. So that's what I did. And I'm coming to you feeling refreshed and nourished. And I want to know what's happening in your world. See what happens. We miss 1 week of the episode and then I have to talk for 10 minutes straight to bring you into the real of like, hi, I miss you, friend. Here's what's going on. So let's now ease into what I really wanted to share with you. It's a question. And the question is, what is life asking of you right now? What is life asking of you? And what I mean by this is, if you're anything like me, which I know that you are, there are different days and weeks and months and maybe particular seasons where it feels like life is what we're going to call it here, but it could be God, universe, spirit, your intuition, your highest self is trying to get something through to you. And maybe it pops up in a book you're reading, and then you're at the coffee shop and you overhear someone talking about something similar. And then you turn on a podcast episode and you hear the same message. And then you're driving down the road and you see a literal billboard. You're asking God for a sign and you get the biggest sign out of all the signs you ever could, which is probably a billboard, right? I don't know how much bigger it gets. All right, love, real quick pause because I have to tell you about something that is truly life-changing. If you've been in my world for any amount of time, then there is a 99.9% chance that you have heard me talk about Energy Expansion Academy, which is my signature group coaching program where I teach the exact tools, rituals, mindset shifts that helped me create a life that goes beyond my wildest dreams and has transformed the lives of hundreds of women that I've had the honor of serving. And for the first time ever, it is now available as a self-paced experience. That means you get to move through this powerful transformation on your own terms, in your own timing, and in full alignment with your life. This is for the woman who's ready to shift her energy, elevate her mindset, and finally become the most confident, fulfilled, and successful version of herself. without the hustle, without the overwhelm, and without the second guessing. If you've been feeling the nudge to join us inside of EEA, then this, my love, is your sign. You'll find the link in the show notes or just DM me EEA on Instagram and I'll personally send it your way. Now, let's get back to the episode that you came for. Than that, a billboard is a pretty big sign. And you're like, okay, I get it. I get it. It is coming at me from every direction. And so I asked the women inside of Energy Expansion Academy this morning, and some of those lessons, if we want to call them that, really, again, the question is, what is life asking of you right now? What is that thing that feels like it just keeps coming up? Like, hello, come on, sister, get the message, take the action. Here's the guidance, do the thing. Or maybe in some people's cases, it's don't do the thing. And so this morning inside of EEA, some of the lessons were to unplug, slow down, and be present in the moment. Another woman shared that hers was patience. Another woman said that she's getting the sign and the wisdom that she needs to be cutting the energetic cords of anything and everyone that is not serving her right now. I bet you can relate to some of those things. I will in a minute share what's been coming through for me, but the thing that I want you to know is that when I ask you the question, what is life asking of you right now? What is that message that is coming through in perhaps repetition in different ways from different places and different spaces? This, my love, is a form, not the only one, but it is definitely a form of divine guidance. It's one of the ways that spirit speaks to us and through us. And one of my favorite things about how divine guidance comes through is that for the most part, it is ridiculously simple. It's so simple. It's a few words, not multiple paragraphs, not an essay. It's not a complicated 11-step framework or formula. It's typically really, really simple, and it's really direct. And often we will notice it in repetition, and it needs to be simple and direct because it's trying to get through to you. And so when you start noticing it, you can't unnotice it. You can't unsee it. You can't unfeel it. And so I'm really curious, is this happening for you right now? And maybe not in this exact moment, but I have a feeling you can probably think of a particular season of life where this was happening. So what's that message that keeps finding you? What is life asking of you right now? I had shared some of the examples that came through during our conversation inside of Energy Expansion Academy today. And there's a few that are coming through for me, but the big one is I feel like I'm being called to move forward in a new direction. And this isn't just in one area of my life. It's like how I'm being called forward, how I'm being propelled forward in every area of my life. And I've got to be really honest with you. I'm genuinely excited. I'm genuinely excited about a new and different direction. And also, I feel like I've been stalling a bit. I feel like I'll get these nudges and I'll take a step forward. I'm really meant to take like 5 or 6 steps forward, but I take 1 step forward and the energetic ground beneath me feels a little fuzzy. And so I just kind of stand in place and it's feeling really, really uncomfortable. Oh my goodness. It's so interesting because as I was talking about this earlier, what I was saying was, the divine guidance is simple. It is not complicated, but simple and easy are not the same thing. I think sometimes people confuse those, or they'll use the word simple and easy synonymously as if they're the same, but if you think about it, they're not. You can get the simplest information, the divine guidance to unplug, slow down, and be present in the moment. But if you have spent your entire life, most of my clients are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, but if you've spent 40 years of your life identifying yourself as a high achiever, a go-getter, someone who, this speaks for me, who for most of my life, it felt like my identity and my self-worth was wrapped up in how much I could accomplish. If you tell someone with those patterns, hi, it's me, I've gotten much better at this over the years, but especially someone who hasn't done the deep inner healing, if you tell that go getting fast paced, her identity, her worthiness is wrapped up to accomplishment and productivity, you tell that woman to slow down, unplug, and be in the moment, her nervous system is going to have a freaking field day. That kind of divine guidance is going to land in her mind, but then create total dysregulation and disorientation and confusion in her body. Because for that woman, unplugging, slowing down, being present, resting feels really unsafe. It's not something she could do. So here's where I'm getting back to this point of the guidance is simple, but it's not always easy. And so we can get the same message. We can be seeing these signs again and again and again in all the different places, all the different spaces. And there might also be some resistance, some fear for a lot of different reasons. And so I want to honor whatever might be coming up for you, because it's exciting when we get divine guidance, when we hear wisdom from life, from God, from our own inner knowing. And also sometimes there's some mental and emotional and energetic gymnastics that we get to do around that. And that is honestly a part of what I was feeling, my own level of resistance, again, around this intuitive guidance to proceed in a new and different direction. And it's not necessarily that I'm like really rerouting the direction so much as I'm being invited to move from a new energy, just like we were talking about at the very beginning of this conversation. And so I was being reminded earlier today of a declaration that I made at the Energetics of Business event that happened here in San Diego back in March. This feels like a really big deal. Like a really, really big deal. And I don't think I've shared it on the podcast yet somehow. And if I did happen to share this back in March, well, you're welcome, because you're going to hear this part again. And it's big and it's important. So here we go. I have always, in my mind, no one ever taught me this. This is just like a way that I've seen this. I have these 3 big rocks, like the most important parts of my life, in no particular order. One rock is my business. My business is my life's work. It is literally what I feel like God hired me to do. It's my soul's calling. It's how I provide for my family. It is a creative outlet. When your business is connected to your soul's sense of purpose, it's a big deal. So business is one area. And then the other rock is my family life. So within family life is marriage, motherhood, all things that have to do with home life and the important relationships within that. And now I can argue that some of these, we could even pull them apart a little bit more. For the sake of this conversation, we're not going to. But within family life, marriage is very much its own category in my mind than motherhood. Like things could be going really well in my role as a mom, and I might not be feeling great in my marriage, and vice versa. I could feel super connected to my husband. We could be on top of the freaking world together while simultaneously feeling like I'm struggling as a mom. So again, there's some nuance here, but this is really how I've always seen these 3 big categories of my life. And so we've got business, we've got family life, and then the other big rock is me, self, and how I relate to myself. Like, how well am I taking care of myself? My mind, my body, my spirit, my inner world? Am I keeping the promises that I make to myself? So it's these 3 big rocks: business, family life, relationship to self. And there is a pattern that I've noticed. I actually identified this pattern many years ago. I mean, it was before my son River was born, and he's 4. It was probably 5 or 6 years ago where I identified this pattern that I don't like. And in some ways, this pattern is still at play. And so let me bring you into this. The pattern is that, and I want to also weave in, I'm going to use the analogy of a game. I love looking at life as a game. I just like to gamify things. It makes my inner child very happy. So give me all of the game metaphors and analogies, and I'm here for it, and I'm going to give those right back to you. So the invitation here around a new direction, a new way, a new energy to move forward, really, the divine guidance is I'm being invited to play a new game. When that came through at the energetics of business, I wrote that in my little iPad note taker. I take my iPad to all events and then I have unlimited pages. I don't run out of notebook space there. I wrote that and it was almost as if tears started streaming down my face. Again, because this was not a new awareness. I knew that this pattern had been at play, and I don't even think I've described the pattern to you. I will in just a second though. But what I got was my invitation, my commitment to myself this year is to play a new game, to literally create a new game. So why a new game? Because the old game is not working. And here's what I want to share with you. Going back to the three big categories, what are the little, like when you're playing a board game, like I don't want to call them a pawn. I don't like that. Ew. That is what those are, right? That's a pawn. This is not a pawn thing. These are the three most important areas of my life. In the old game that I've been playing, the awareness that I had was at any given moment, two of those big categories could be thriving, but one was always paying the price. So it would be like a season of life where my business was blowing up in the best kind of way, like the way that you want a business to blow up, just rocket fuel vibes, like to the moon, here we go. And family life also felt great. Actually, this is a kind of a bad analogy because if you're rocket fueling to the moon in your business and you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to rocket fuel. So let me rearrange this one. We are to the moon, rocket fuel in our business, simultaneously taking really good care of myself. That is a very real analogy. That has absolutely happened where it's like my business is solid. I'm feeling good in my body, in my mind. But my husband and my kids are like, hey, hello, lady. Did you forget? Did you forget you have this thing called a family? Right? So that's happened actually on multiple occasions. And that come to Jesus moment, getting really honest with like, oh, my business has gotten a lot of me. And in order for my business to be headed to the moon on this sparkly rocket ship, I also had to take really good care of myself. And I'm so grateful for that. But somewhere along the way, my family paid the price. They were getting scraps of me. Oh, no, I don't like that. So then I would try to rearrange things a bit. So then I would keep taking really good care of myself. And then I would pour myself into my family. But then my business would sort of be left behind. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? And so it has felt like the only game that I have known how to play up until this point is certain aspects of my life can feel really good and aligned, but not everything. And I really don't like that. And I've done little bits of inner work around this. And even just having this conversation right now is inviting me into, like right now I'm having these ahas around how I can take this even deeper. And I'm sharing this with you. I'm like really, really bringing you into this because I have a feeling you might be navigating the exact same thing. Or maybe it's not the exact same thing. Maybe you don't have a business, or maybe you're not in partnership right now. Maybe you're not a mom, but you can identify your own big rocks. Maybe you can identify areas of your life where it's like, okay, a couple of things feel good over here, but just when these things start feeling their absolute best, these other things start to slip. And it's this game of juggling and trying to make it all work, and it can be really exhausting. And part of what keeps that in place is our beliefs, is our programming, is our way of moving through the world. And so at the energetics of business, I decided it's not even like I'm playing a new game. I'm literally creating a new game. Like I am at the epicenter of creating what it is that I want. And what I'm up to for this year, this is really exciting because I only made this declaration like 6 weeks ago. So I've still got a nice long runway of dancing with this and figuring out what this gets to look like for me. But the game that I'm creating is the game called How Good Can It Possibly Get? That's the game I'm playing. As good as it freaking gets. And we are not stopping until we've created that. And so feel free, my friend. Again, you might not be able to relate to like my big rock categories, but I have a very strong feeling that upon you hearing me say that there is a game called How Good Can It Possibly Get? And I'm on a mission to create that for myself. I want you to know that you get to create that for yourself as well. And then another really big part of this conversation, I want to make sure I weave this in because I shared it with the women inside of Energy Expansion Academy this morning, and it's so true. I don't know who to give credit to this quote for, but I have been actually saying it a lot recently. It's been really relevant in many of the places and spaces that I'm in. And, part of this is there's definitely an evolution that is happening. I can feel it within me personally. I can feel it within my business, and like bigger than my business is my life's work, my life's purpose. And I can feel it in one-on-one sessions that I do with clients. I can feel it in the communities that I have the privilege of being a part of, and especially the communities where I have a privilege of being able to lead, both in my communities and other communities. But it's this reality that most people will choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And I know this to be true because I just got done telling you that for the first time, I identified this pattern that I don't like 6 years ago. And I think I kind of chalked it up to like, well, this is just how it is, until this year when it was like, you know what? I'm actually not okay with this. This is not just how it is unless I decide that. And I think somewhere along the way, I did decide that. And right now I'm changing my mind. So you get to be with, what have you decided? What have you concluded about your life, about your business, about your purpose, about your mission, about what's possible for you? And my love, guess what? Just like I did right now, you can change your mind anytime you desire. You can make a new decision. A new decision is what creates a new reality. But the truth of the matter is, most people will slip back into what is known, what is familiar, even if they don't like that. That's where the familiar hell comes in, because the familiar hell is often the thing that feels like safety, even if it's not, even if it's without a doubt not the best choice for us, not the best reality, not the best path forward. And so this is where like I'm personally seeing where I get to lean into the unfamiliar, the unknown, because if you want something new and different, you got to create something new and different. And new and different is what you don't have right now. New and different is what you likely haven't ever had before, AKA an unfamiliar heaven. That is what I'm up to. It's really interesting. I was telling you a little bit before about the sweet Mother's Day celebrations, and it was just a really beautiful weekend altogether. It was lots of quality time, lots of space just to kind of be and play outside. Literally, I was at the park with my son, again, who's 4. He can be a little bit of a chicken, and he doesn't like to take a lot of risks, which I don't blame him. I get it. No big deal. But I was very happily surprised when he was playing on the monkey bars. Number one, he's normally afraid of the monkey bars. But not only was he willing to play on the monkey bars, he was doing this thing where he was jumping from the platform. He's pretty small. And these monkey bars were big. He was jumping from the platform. He was skipping the first monkey bar and then hooking onto the second one. It was really cool. I'm hoping that as I describe this, you can get this picture in your head. Like, it was a really brave thing to do. And I was freaking out, encouraging him, like celebrating him. But this thing happened, and it was reminding me of you. It was reminding me of this conversation. He would leap out, skip the first bar, grab onto the second bar, but then he would start to panic. Like mid swing, mid jump and latch. And you know what he tried to do? He tried to swing his body back to get himself back on the platform, which would have been really dangerous because at this point, he's really far from the platform. There was not a reality where he could get back to the platform safely. Are you with me on this? And so I try to explain to him, bud, I know that you're scared and you want to go back to where you started, but if you try to go all the way back to the beginning, you're going to get hurt. Like it is going to hurt you. It is going to be harmful. So you have two choices. You can drop down and just like land on 2 feet where you are, or you can keep moving forward. Like let yourself stay where you are right now, drop down, land, get the sand off your hands, stand back up, try it again, or you can keep moving forward. But moving backward is not an option. It is not safe. In fact, in this case, it will be harmful. And I was literally thinking about you as that was happening, not even knowing. I was like, how do I share this analogy with my people? And of course, here we are. We're in it right now. And so the invitation here, my love, is to notice. We're going to start rounding. We're going to round this out. We're going to land the plane here. Notice, what is life asking of you right now? What is that repetitive message? Maybe it feels like it's internal. Maybe it feels like it's external. Both are valid. I want you to sit with it. I want you to write it down. Feel free to open up your social medias and message me and let me know what that is for you. Okay. So what is life asking of you right now? The other thing that I want to share with you is taking a little bit of an audit around the big, meaningful parts of your life. You know, I was calling these my big rocks. And I really want to know, what are the big rocks in your life? And are you up for joining me on this adventure, this journey of playing a new game, a new way of moving forward, a game that we're calling How Good Can It Possibly Get? And I am not going to stop until it gets there. So those are the little bits and pieces that I wanted to share with you. I'll weave in a bonus practice that I was talking about this morning with the women inside of Energy Expansion Academy. So again, kind of tying into what's life asking of you, what are the lessons, what are the messages, and the new game that I'm playing around my business, my relationship with my family, my marriage, my kids, and also my relationship to myself, all thriving simultaneously. It's happening. It is happening. I believe it to be possible. It is the only way that I want to move forward. One of my favorite quotes, and this is one of those things that's been coming up again and again and again recently. I've been saying this for a really long time, and I had it as like my Facebook cover photo for a couple of years. As I was making my vision board, I'm literally looking at it right now. As I was making my vision board for this year, I saw it on a little piece of paper, so I cut it out. And it came up in some content I felt inspired to create recently, but it's the secret to having it all is knowing that you already do. The secret to having it all is knowing that you already do. And this isn't to say like, oh, you should be grateful with what you have. You can't want any more. No, my friend. But the truth of the matter is, if we want to create more, if we want bigger, if we want better, whatever it is, whatever area of your life, that starts with being able to allow yourself to receive, like fully receive what you have right now. If you are not able to receive what God, universe, spirit, life has given you, you think you're going to be able to receive more if you haven't received what you have yet? Like, no, I really truly believe God and life are going to hold back. Yes, I believe this, are going to hold back the goodness until you can learn to appreciate and be with and steward what you've already been given. You believe that? I believe that. And so there was this practice this morning that was really sweet. It's so simple. It's like ridiculously easy. And if you've ever listened to any of my reflection episodes, when I talk about doing like a monthly reflection or a quarterly reflection or an annual reflection, one of the greatest reflection hacks is to pull up your camera roll and just kind of scroll through your memories. So, the reason I love doing this so much is I have a tendency to take videos and pictures like really quickly in the moment. And I think I do a really good job, to be honest. So I like whip out my phone, capture the moment, put my phone back in my pocket, and then I move on with my life and don't actually go back and reflect on, like, oh yeah, we did that and we went there. And oh my gosh, River's jumping off the monkey bars. I have like 20 videos of that happening, by the way. I was such a proud mom. And so, something I did this morning was I opened up my camera roll and just for 5 minutes, I scrolled through the weekend. I actually had a lot of footage from Mother's Day weekend, things that like I didn't post on social media. They weren't necessarily for social media. I ended up posting little bits and pieces, but I capture these moments because I want to come back to them. I capture these moments because me and my family like to sit on the couch and look at these moments year after year. And so, my invitation for you is to savor the moment, savor the season. And that might actually look like you whipping out your camera roll right now and scrolling through some of your favorite recent memories. It might look like closing your eyes and placing one or both hands over your heart and just allowing yourself to recall some of your favorite moments and memories from the last few days, the last few weeks, and honestly, any of your favorite moments. And I just loved this so much because as I was scrolling through my camera roll this morning, I had this realization. Do you ever notice your thoughts? And like as you're noticing them, you're noticing that you're noticing them. You're like, oh, that was an interesting thought that I just had. I noticed that I had the thought of, I am the luckiest woman in the world. Like I really, truly feel so lucky. Given the opportunity, it's not even opportunity, but like given the chance to trade places with someone else, I wouldn't. In a million years, I wouldn't. I would want this life in this body with these people, same challenges, same gifts, same all of it. And that all happened because I gave myself a couple of minutes to savor the sweetness that was this past week and weekend. And so I really want to invite you into that as we're talking about these messages that are wanting to come through and really looking at the big aspects of your life and a new game to play, a new way to move through life, a new energy I'm inviting you to tap into. One of the number one ways you're going to be able to do that is by savoring what's in the here and the now. I love that for you. I love that for me. I love that for us. As always, I love getting to hear from you after these episodes. So my DMs are open for your insights, your ahas, your thoughts, your questions. I love all of the above, especially your questions as I'm mapping out the next couple of weeks of podcast content. I would love, like literally love, to create a podcast episode just for you. So send me your questions, send me your curiosities. And if you're curious about what it would look like for us to work together, I will have a link in the show notes and we can explore what creating this new game for you gets to look like. And I promise you that creating anything new, a new game, a new energy, a new way of being, really what we're talking about here is an entirely new reality, a new way of experiencing life. That is always exponentially easier and more effective when you have the right support in place. And this is literally what I have dedicated my life to. And so if that's speaking to you, please feel free to reach out to me via email, the DMs, or just use the booking link below and we can explore what that would look like. And we'll see you again on the next one.